Hello, how's everyone doing today? Um, I'd like to talk about the non-aggression principle. One of the things that I've heard a lot of libertarians do is seem to have this idea that most people believe in the non-aggression principle and make an exception when it comes to the state. So all libertarians have to do is not argue for why the non-aggression principle is a valid moral theory, but rather expose the propaganda of the state. And I sort of disagree with this approach because most people, or at least a lot of the people, or most of the people that I've interacted with, reject the non-aggression principle. And I don't believe that most people believe in the non-aggression principle. Most people are utilitarians or consequentialists. I'll give an example. If you were to ask 100 people in a row, is it okay to pinch someone to save their life, I would bet that most people would say yes. And that is inconsistent with the non-aggression principle, right? I'm going to commit aggression against you by pinching you in order to save someone else's life. Now, and this is a typical criticism that people have towards libertarianism. That people say, look, there are degrees, and better to inflict a little harm on someone in order to prevent a bigger harm on someone else. I have a friend, he's a utilitarian, and he said to me, I know when I advocate the welfare state that is theft, that I am telling to take $1,000, let's say, from a millionaire and give it to a poor person. But the millionaire is still going to be a millionaire from the money that is extracted from him. He's still going to be able to have a yacht. He's still going to live a pretty good life. And I believe that the gain of the poor person is the difference between life and death. It's a meal and not a meal. And the poor person will gain a lot more by taking the $1,000 from the rich person than the rich person will lose, right? This is sort of, the Ronald Coase economic view that, the person who should get the property is the one who values it most. And that is a common rejection that I think people always have against libertarianism. If anyone wants to watch my the debate between Kinsella and Jen Helfeld, you will notice that Jen Helfeld's arguments for government are, well, if we don't have government, there'll be more harm. So I'm aware that government initiates force, but without a little initiation of force, there'll be more initiation of force. And so I think what libertarians have to do is poke holes in these arguments. First of all, let me answer the question myself. Is it valid to obviously these are just meant to justify aggression, these scenarios. They're not typically realistic scenarios. They're lifeboat situations, but let's, for the sake of argument, let's use them. Is it justified to pinch someone to save someone's life? I reject the premise that how are you ever in a situation where the only way to save someone is pinching them? It's a philosophical idea. Let's ignore the realism for a second and follow the argument. Is it justifiable? And I would argue that the non-aggression principle can't control how people act. The non-aggression principle just says that if you commit an act of aggression against someone, the person has a right to seek restitution. Okay? I can't control the fact that someone's going to punch someone in the face, or someone's going to murder someone, or someone's going to steal. The non-aggression principle isn't saying that you can never steal an apple to save someone's life. It's saying you're free to make that choice, but you have an obligation to reimburse the person whose apple you have stolen from. And so you have to weigh it. Do I steal an apple to eat and face the penalty of having to reimburse the guy 3 apples, let's say? Or do I starve to death? And you weigh these things, right? A person who doesn't believe in the non-aggression principle would say, It's okay to steal an apple if you're starving, and you never have to make restitution. You never have to make due for your actions. So in the scenario of having to pinch a guy to save some guy's life, I think I would say that you have a choice, and if you want to pinch someone to save someone's life, fine. But if the person says, you pinched me, now I get to pinch you, or you owe me money for doing so, you have to accept those consequences, right? Instead of just saying, I believe that my obligation is to save everyone's life, and if I have to steal an apple to do it, if I have to pinch people to do it, so be it, and I'm never going to make do, right? That's not what the government does. The government steals your money to give to someone else, and that's it. They don't send you a check next year with interest saying, here's the money to reimburse you for what I've stolen. No, they say, I got to take your money, and that's it. So these are the arguments that I would make. Because most people, I think, do reject the non-aggression principle. Most people, I think, or a significant portion, would say it's okay to steal an apple to save someone's life and just end it there. Instead of saying, look, you could steal an apple to save someone's life if you so choose that, but there are consequences that come from that choice, and you still have to reimburse the person whose apple you've stolen from. And I think those are the answers that I would give for these lifeboat situations, or I think more accurately called, let me think of some situations which are pretty improbable, which are not that likely to occur, to try to justify my own violence. All right, thanks. Have a nice day. Bye.